Thank you and welcome to the show for today. My name is Alana McLaughlin and you are watching Perspectives. This morning I have three Nashville-based individuals here to discuss thriving artistry in Nashville. They're to discuss their backgrounds, their careers, their faith, the experiences that have led them here, and ultimately how their artistry has thrived here in Tennessee. And so I want to thank y'all for joining me this morning. And I'm going to kind of go down the line. KP, I'll start with you. We're just going to discuss those early life, those early experiences, kind of what childhood looked like, in kind of like a short paragraph kind of form. So Keymaya, kind of tell me what those little years look like.
Okay, so the little years for me, I was very active. I played almost any sport you can really just think of. Baseball, flag football, basketball, just basically anything. I grew up on the south part of Nashville, and Napier Community Center was my go-to for me. So very involved with the community and stuff like that. I had a good upbringing. I always had love for music and sports, but honestly, music was a plan B.
And so that's a good little kind of descriptor of you. Now, did you go to Napier? This is off topic.
Yes, I did.
I did too, and my mom taught there, so I just wanted to slide that in long time ago. But I'm familiar with the area, and it's kind of tell me those tiny years.
Oh, so my tiny years, I started off in I was born in Antioch, Tennessee. So from there, my mom, she basically had us in and out of sports, me and my brother and my sister. Then from there, we actually got in a house fire, which actually set us back a lot. So that kind of hurt a lot of things as far as football and being able to be out in sports. So that kind of took away a lot.
And we're going to discuss how that impacted you as well. And kind of tell me those early years. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I was just going back and forth. Those tiny years, tiny Austin.
Yeah, for me, being a young man was always something I wanted to be, even though I was a boy. I'm not very tall, not very big, but everyone around me was. And so I might be 5'6", but I've always had 7 feet energy.
I like that. And fellas, introduce yourselves. I didn't kind of tell y'all about that. And Keymaya, you was what? Now tell me your name.
Keymaya Butler.
And yours?
Amari West, but I go by A West.
I'm Austin.
Just Austin?
Yep.
Okay, I like it. Hey, just Austin. But I like the kind of the foundation that we've set with this first episode. We all just had really humble beginnings, just regular things that regular kids are going through, from self-confidence to losing yourself to sports, all that. Now, I want to talk about you guys' relationship with music as a child. Was music in the house? What kind of music were you into? The relationship that you had with music. And KP, I'll start with you.
Well, the relationship I had with music always have been personal for me. So in my music, I tend to speak on like my personal experience, my life experiences. So for me, music always been therapy. And yeah.
That's not bad.
For me, my brother, he was a producer, he still is, and that kind of actively got me into music, and I always seen my cousins dance and sing, and I always wanted to be like that, so I got motivated to be an artist myself, and I was also in band in school.
What'd you play?
Saxophone, I still play.
What? I play trumpet. I'm actually an aristocrat at Tennessee State University.
Absolutely.
I like to throw the 2-time Grammy-winning aristocrat of bands. I like to throw that in there. Come on.
Hey.
But enough about me. Austin, tell me your relationship with music.
Music is the one thing that I've had my entire life that pulled me out of any situation, whether it was Phil Collins on Tarzan, or it was, Eminem on the 2001 Grammys next to Pink. So, it's like, it's always been something that could pull me out of any situation.
And I kind of want to talk about music aside and kind of sports aside, early childhood, what did life in general look like? Did you all have siblings, kind of church background? Kind of tell me, you talked a lot about your sports, so you kind of gave it away a little early. So Wes, I'm gonna kind of jump to you for this particular one, but kind of tell me what home looked like.
Well, home was my brother and my sister mainly. My mom as well, she was a hard worker, and I lived with my uncles, aunts, family-oriented, real family-oriented, and we went to church a lot. In Michigan, I lived there as well before I came down to Nashville. And we stayed in church majority of the time and kind of back and forth from that. So, yeah.
And Austin, you can jump right in after that.
Sure. So like many people in poverty, I was part of a broken home. Grew up in many different places, and I think a lot of us can find a way to feel synchronic with that, because we've all been through something that breaks up our home, and we want that back. And so that's kind of the reason why I've been doing my best to develop a team that is made up of family.
And I like that, a team made up of family. That's a beautiful
Absolutely.
way to end this first segment. And in our second segment, we're going to come back just talking about you guys' adolescent experiences and ultimately the build up to KP Studios, what you guys are doing for the community and how the community can support. And I encourage our viewers to tune into the second segment of Perspectives, where we'll be discussing thriving artistry in Nashville. Welcome to the second segment of the show for today. For viewers just tuning in, my name is Alana McLaughlin, and you are watching Perspectives. This morning, I have three individuals here to discuss thriving artistry in Nashville. They are discussing their careers, their backgrounds, educations, and ultimately the impact that they seek to have on Tennessee. In our first segment, I spoke with these individuals about their upbringings, the home lives that they experienced, and ultimately what led them to develop a relationship with music. Now, we're going to pick back up off of where we left off. We're going to talk about kind of your adolescent years. Now, KP, you were kind of neglected in that first segment, so I want to start with you. Tell me kind of some pivotal experiences that happened in your adolescence that shaped you.
Well, I will first start off with me having real bad anxiety through my high school years. That kind of stopped a lot for me socially, like verbally, like it really separated me from everybody, and that's like missing school, high school, and that kind of like messed with my basketball hoop dreams that I did have, and that's actually what made me turn into music. So really just going through anxiety and just mental things, it really stopped me a lot. And I would say I just recently got shot this past June in both of my legs, and I'm just now coming back. So I feel like that was a point that actually shaped me to do what I'm actually doing now. Like, this is a comeback for me. So
That was like 5 months ago.
yes.
Like, oh my God, not even 5.
Yes.
Goodness gracious. And you've walked into the studio. Isn't God good?
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Definitely
Absolutely.
blessed.
Oh my God, yeah, I'll get to preaching in here. Austin, tell me about these experiences. I don't know if you can even top that, but just kind of tell me about those same pivotal adolescent experiences that have shaped you.
Yeah, so I mean, I had a very traumatic experience when I was a boy. My brother had slit his leg open on a piece of glass, and it nicked his femoral artery. And I did my best to help, but nothing I could do was right. You know, he survived. We went and managed to get him to the hospital, and they did everything. You know, we drove fast.
Oh yeah.
But that made me become a medic in the Army eventually, and so that pivoted me. And so when I found out that Kay'd been shot and that she had already put out an album about 3 months into recovery, I said, hey West, get me Kay, get me on the phone with Kay. This I'm telling you,
Definitely.
Oh my goodness.
these two right here, we're talking about
And
passion.
now Wes, even before your involvement with
Yeah.
this, kind of tell me those adolescent experiences that shaped you and eventually how you ended up working with these two awesome individuals.
Well, I went to school at Cambridge High School, and I was in JROTC, just kind of still in band, and just was trying to figure out life at that time. Growing up, after that, I went to the Navy as well. So, but before then, it was more so trying to get through the trauma that I was speaking about as far as going through the house fire that I had told you about, and just getting through those milestones with my family. Like I said, my mom, she just kind of had us just pushed in school, more so because we're still playing catch up, it felt like. But school and sports were mainly my main focus that I really wanted to do, but it just started to go on my studies and then going into the military after that, so.
And I've seen kind of like the lasting thing that I've noticed with y'all is that perseverance throughout these traumas and throughout these issues is kind of what has led y'all to these seats
Yes.
here on television. And oh my, KB, I have to come back because my jaw it's hit the floor. I can't get it back. Tell me about your mental state after going through something as traumatic. Both legs.
Both legs. My right leg, I actually had a fracture in the small bone. I think it's like the fibia bone. Mentally, I feel like I'm just now, I wouldn't say getting over it, but knowing how to deal with it. Everything happened so quick. I wasn't like involved, you know.
Yeah.
And I walked out of there, no surgery, no nothing. I walked out the same night. I started walking a week later. At first, I couldn't walk. Mentally, after that, it kind of affected me as far as the environments that I put myself in.
Oh, yeah.
Because it might not be you, it could be somebody else, or somebody that they bring that can put you in a bad situation.
You're right.
So mentally, I think I was kind of boxed in. After that, like I wanted to be by myself a lot, didn't really want to go to gatherings, didn't want to record everybody, and it was just like mentally, it just really took a toll. But I always turn to music, so I came out with my album Trauma, and that just, it's like 5 songs. It just really gave them every part of me, the good, the bad, the sad, just every part. So that kind of helped me. I always like get my feelings out through music. That's my #1 goal. That's what I always wanted to do. So,
Oh my God. And see, I love a good comeback story. There is nothing greater than putting your pain into your music and then capitalizing off of it.
Yes, and that's exactly what I'm doing.
Oh my goodness. You'll hear me say God is good all the time because that is truly how I feel. But you guys are living testimonies, genuinely living testimonies. And Wes, I kind of want to talk about that same mental health after the fire and how you were able to maintain through that.
It was hard, starting over. Actually, my school started to donate when I was in elementary school. They donated a lot to the proceeds to my family, which got us actually getting back on our feet, which we are much appreciative. And then it just started kind of fast tracking back, trying to get into church, going to basketball tournaments and everything like that, trying to get acclimated with staying driven. And then I started cutting grass and started trying to get my ambition and my hustle on, basically. And from there, it just went to my brother making beats, and then I come downstairs, I hear him, and then I started singing, getting motivated, and I was like, man, I could do this too. And it just kind of, those traumas that I had went through from an adolescent child kind of helped me put it back into my music so you can kind of hear my pain and everything that I went through, even from the military as well. I have a single called PTSD that I kind of just put a lot of my pain and energy into because I did go through a lot of traumatic experiences. So that's...
Yeah, and you've wrapped it up. And also to wrap up this second segment, I want to talk about just those not even an experience after your brother, kind of maintaining your mental health through that after he's injured himself, and that's traumatic. To watch someone you love like bleeding like that, it's terrifying. But also you've gone on to work as a medic through the military, so you've seen some stuff. And how do you kind of maintain that mental health while saving everyone else, while healing others,
Well, I appreciate being recognized as someone who heals others. That feels really good. That's kind of the mission, isn't it?
Yeah.
For me anyway. As a manager of artists, and I've got a painter, Joshua Lynn. He does fantastic work. A West, this is crazy because he and I went through a very traumatic experience together about 13, 14 years ago. Wow. Our best friend Bobby had been shot. And he lived, but it definitely made a difference. One of our other best friend who was there, he became a cop. But just simply because he wanted to do things to prevent that in the future, And the trauma that we all have experienced together, that's what makes us a team. That's what makes Nashville so big and so new, because we've got Atlanta, and we've got LA, and we've got New Orleans,
the Miami's,
and Nashville. We're still waiting on that hip hop scene to explode. Big props to Jelly Roll and them, but A West and KP, we're on the way.
We're on the way. And what more can we say? They're right.
Come on.
In our third segment and final segment, we're just going to come back to discuss the creation of KP Studios, where artists thrive. We're going to talk about these artists thriving, how you all thrive together, and ultimately the impact that you all seek to have on Tennessee. I encourage our viewers to tune into the final segment of Perspectives, where we will be discussing thriving artistry in Nashville, Tennessee. Of the show for today. For viewers just tuning in, I am Alana McLaughlin, and you are watching Perspectives. In our first 2 segments, I had 3 individuals join me to talk about thriving artistry in Nashville. We talked about careers, backgrounds, educations, and ultimately the impact that we all seek to have on not only young musicians, but just young Tennesseans in general. In our first 2 segments, we talked about just dealing with different traumas and getting through different obstacles in life, and we left off with KP sharing her story of being injured and getting through that injury, the mindset, you know, the mental space associated with that, and we left off on the kind of the birth of KP Studios.
Yes.
And so I asked you what KP meant. I asked that off camera, but again, tell us what KP means.
K Productions.
K Productions. So it's cool, it's simple, and I know that you all are on Church Street, kind of downtown Nashville area.
Yes,
and
we are.
I asked you kind of the mindset behind starting just a studio, because like you don't just up one day and say, I'm just gonna like own this studio. So kind of tell me the foundation kind of in the background associated with starting this studio. Like, how did you procure this building? Like, what does that look like?
Okay, so I first started K Production Studio just stemming off of my first studio that I did run when I was 20 years old in Clarksville, Tennessee. So I was there for about a year and things didn't work out, so I'm thinking about my next move. Now from 2021 to 2023, I've been engineering out of multiple studios myself. I always wanted my own though. I love like having my own. It's just what kind of person I am. I actually moved to Houston for 6 months. Then came back and I'm like, man, I want to have my own studio again, but I wasn't thinking that it was gonna come this soon, this quick, because it's only been 2 years later. So K Production Studios is basically, it's called K Production because me, I go by Produced by K. My producer career, like, that's what I'm known for most. So this is me, and this is, you know, everything that I got going on. I'm multi-talented, so I didn't want to box myself in. My other logo, I had, you know, just the keyboard, but, you know, we're going to add the camera, we're going to add, you know, everything.
Oh, my goodness.
And I basically just got the opportunity to have my own studio by really just looking at other places that was available, and it turned out that at Mark's studio, shout out to Mark, he had an open space available in there. So it took me some time and thought, and I'm like, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna go. This is my time coming back, because I went through from June to I think November. I wasn't really recording nobody, barely. I wanted to open myself back up to people after my incident. So my clients, once I go somewhere, they stick with me. They go wherever I go. So they love the vibes, they love the quality, just everything with me is just so genuine, and it attracts good clients, genuine clients. Like, I love my clients, so this, as much as this was for me, I'm building something bigger than me.
And now, fellas, you're hearing her tell y'all all this,
Yes.
and you're listening to this, and you're like, what? Tell me the mindset associated. Kind of tell me the reception that y'all had after your friend has pitched this, and you know she's credible. You know she has the work to back this up, but this is a jump.
Right.
So kind of tell me the thoughts associated when she proposed KP Studios to y'all.
Well, when Kay came to me and she called me and she said, Wes, I'm about to do my own thing. I'm about to do my own studio. I said, go ahead, Kay. That's what I'm talking about. I kept putting that energy into her, affirming that. Just like, I believe in you. Keep going and don't stop, you know? And when she had told me where she was going to be located, I was like, that's perfect, you know, in the heart of Nashville. And a lot of people know this area. And I've worked with Kay for about 1.5 years now, so anywhere that Kay goes, like she said, like, she has quality, she has a good vibe, her beats are incredible. She's a very credible person, you know, credible source to actually give you what it is that you are looking for when you need it. You know?
Now, I'm gonna kind of pick your brain a bit. I want a glimpse kind of into that artistry.
Okay.
So she's producing
Yeah.
your music.
Yes. We
Okay,
actually
so-
have an EP coming together.
Ah!
Yeah.
I love that.
Yes.
So now, kind of from the artist standpoint, tell me what that looks like. You walk in the studio, you know, you got all these emotions in you, you got stuff
Right.
written down.
Right.
So now, what's next? You walk through the door, and then does Kay like turn the computer on? What does that look like? Do you give her
Yeah.
stuff? What is a normal kind of session?
Sometimes I'll go in there with the mindset, oh, I'm prepared. And then Kay will play a beat, and I'm like, oh man, Kay, that's it. Like, it's usually like that. It's really organic. I'll come in, and she'll have like a couple of beats playing. I'm like, what is this? What's going on here? And then I'll kind of either like harmonize something, freestyle, or just kind of get the vibe with Kay. And then she'll hear something and be like, Wes, you gotta go record that. You gotta lay that down. And then it just kind of builds from there. Sometimes I'm real written and prepared for it, but then sometimes I'm just like, okay, I want to just come in there and actually get my raw emotions and feelings to make a project, you know?
And so you're giving her the information and she's
Yes.
just like working with it.
Yes.
Both of these things are such huge talents. And Austin, I'm not leaving you out. I got my eye on you, but I'm just in awe at this kind of this duo.
Yes.
Yes.
And how this, wow. So you're almost like a genie of sorts. You
Batman.
grant wishes.
Yes.
Wow. And now,
Yes.
Austin, tell me again how you felt when she proposed KP Studios and your involvement in what your role looks like in a regular day.
Well, you said it right when you said duo. These two make an incredible duo.
But y'all as a trio make a phenomenal trio.
Oh, for sure. What I do for these incredible artists is I give them that motivation. I give them a space. I'll help wherever I'm needed. I'll get them jobs, shows. I'm about to go install a door handle in the studio. We're here. You're right.
You're
We're
like
a team.
studio dad.
I am kind of. I'm in the booth. If he's losing a kind of like where he wants to go, I'll send him something he's written down or something I've written down. And as far as me understanding what Kay's vision is, that takes another level. You have to become a personal manager, not just an enthusiastic friend.
Oh yeah.
Then you have to learn about, understanding the split sheets from places like BMI.
Yeah.
And places like this, when you're understanding what your writers are, taking, your team into account. And all of these things are really important and really taxing on the mind. It can cause,
I bet.
it can cause a lot of mental stress. And this duo here, they needed a trio because they needed someone like me to come in and handle that business, handle that extra stuff so that they can be creative.
And
Yes.
y'all, I want to spend this last about minute of the segment plugging you all social medias and just a quick way that the community can support. I know that we can stream, we can do this and that,
Yes.
but we're going to go down the line. KP, I'm going to start with you. Plug yourself in and tell us how we can support you.
All right, guys, you can follow the studio page on Instagram at 1KP Studios. You can follow my personal Instagram at 1ProducedByK. And you guys can just tap in by stopping by, telling a friend, basically, about the studio. My album's out, my meditation tape is out. I got an app on the App Store, Produced by K Beats. You guys can go stream everything that I do on there.
Oh, wow. Now, Wes and Austin, we're going to wrap this thing up. Plug yourself and tell the community how they can support.
You can find me at AYEWest, A.West on Instagram. You can find my streams on Spotify, Apple Music at AYE. A lot of people don't know how to spell the A, so it's A-West. A-West on all streaming platforms, and I recommend everybody to check out my single PTSD.
Austin, how can we support?
Yeah, just by supporting me, the only way I need support is to support my team. That's all I need.
And there we have it.
Definitely,
So
definitely.
viewers, you know how to support these three awesome individuals, and now you've been given a glimpse into what thriving artistry in Nashville looks like. Thank you all for allowing me the space and the time to share one more perspective. Good morning.